day 2 of this 8th annual event. On a beautiful day in the islands, we bring you a consolation matchup. Stephen F. Austin and Southern Miss, a battle of 2 teams coming off of opening day losses here in the Hawaiian Airlines Diamond Head Classic. We update the bracket. We have a team already punched into the championship game on Christmas Day, San Diego State, with its 82-63 victory over Tulsa. They await the winner of San Francisco and Illinois State in the other semifinal tonight at 10 Eastern on ESPN2. But right now it's Stephen F. Austin and Southern Miss. Kanoa Leahy, Corey Alexander here in the Stan Sheriff Center on the campus of the University of Hawaii. And Corey, what are you looking forward to seeing here in this consolation matchup?
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing both these teams with an opportunity to get a win, especially when you're in a rebuilding process, to see if they'll go out and approach this game as just such a good opportunity for them, and more importantly, coming out with the energy and effort necessary to be able to get a win on a second day of a tournament.
Left side of your screen, that's Kyle Keller in his first season as head coach of the Lumberjacks. Doc Sadler in year 3 atop the program at Southern Miss. The tip is in the air, and it will be the Golden Eagles controlling here to start this day 2 ball game.
And already an adjustment that I like from Doc Sadler, getting Cortez Edwards in the starting lineup for the Golden Eagles. Had a strong impact on the team yesterday, and Doc Sadler deciding to go with that from the beginning of the game today.
Pull-up shot by Kevin Holland was contested, and the rebound off to TJ Holyfield. Stephen F. Austin losing to Tulsa yesterday on day 1, 74-51, while Southern Miss suffered a defeat at the hands of San Diego State, 66-51. They had been able to trim a large deficit down to as close as 5 points with 12 minutes to go before the Aztecs went off and running from there. Here's Ivan Canet. Tough shot off the glass. Ivan Canet, the team's top scorer, 12.6 points per game. Just 2 points on 0 for 5 shooting in 20 minutes versus the Golden Hurricane.
Canet struggled yesterday, but a lot of that had to do with the fact that TJ Holyfield missed the majority of the first half in foul trouble, and he opens up a lot of things for the guys on perimeter because he's able to operate in the post early in games.
Left side 3 ball from Quentin Campbell. Karam's off the iron right to Raheem Watts, and Southern Miss will reset things. Holland open on the right wing. And neither team able to find the range just yet. We got a foul on the rebound that's going to go against Watts. For foul number 1.
Holland, who's been playing primarily the point guard position to start games off, is a 3-point shooter. Missed on a wide open look on that possession. That's one that you always want to get back as a shooter, especially when you know they're not going to come that easy throughout the remainder of the game.
Lumberjacks 4-6 on the year coming into this one. The Golden Eagles 3-7. The 2 teams that would love to get at least 1 victory here in the islands. We're going to have a traveling violation called against TJ Holyfield. Apparently pulled that pivot foot.
And honestly, from first glance, it didn't look like a travel. I thought it was actually good footwork on Holyfield's part, but I know the travel is a point of emphasis for officials, and oftentimes if things look awkward, they are going to be called.
Jason Baker, Peter Uzanis, and Ryan Wells, the officiating trio here in this ball game. Watts looking into the post, and that one kicked away by TJ Holyfield. What about the motivation of if this game winds up a loss for one of these teams, there is a high probability that they will be playing at 7:30 a.m. on Christmas Day.
That's enough motivation for me. I mean, no question about that. Having to play at 7:30, regardless as to what time zone you're in, that's early.
5 seconds to shoot. Holland, he'll pull the trigger. Knocks it down. The 52% three-point shooter. Able to splash that one.
And, of course, we just talked about it. He wanted to get that one back. Well, he got it back. A much more difficult shot at the end of the shot clock, but Holland true from 3-point range.
Holland taking on some of the point guard responsibilities with an injury to Kari Price, 5'9" senior, who underwent knee surgery in October, targeting a return come conference play time in the Conference USA.
And Holland doing a great job understanding where the shot clock was at the time and then using the screen, just enough room to get that three-pointer off. Now 1 for 2, but a big bucket early in the game, Kevin Holland.
Teams a combined 1 for 6 here to start this one. Closing in on 17 minutes to go in half number 1. And that pass winds up in the backcourt. Tracked down there by Watts. And he's going to say that there was a deflection.
It was a deflection on that play.
But the official didn't see it. Calling a backcourt violation.
Yeah, that's a missed opportunity there. There was a deflection, as you see right there. Holyfield getting a hand on the basketball, sending it into the backcourt. That's one Watts should have been able to track down.
Doc Sadler will be dissatisfied with the explanation, I'm sure, as to why his team doesn't have the basketball. Here's Kevon Harris, 6'6" Frosh for the Lumberjacks. Bounce pass taken away by Quentin Campbell. 1-on-3. He doesn't care about the odds. He goes right into the bulk of that defense and draws the whistle.
And I really like Campbell and what he was doing, not just yesterday in the game, but more so on our set day, getting an opportunity to come in and watch all these teams practice. Campbell was always talking to his teammates. He was the most vocal person on the floor outside of Doc Sadler, who had a lot to say in practice. But Campbell was always encouraging his teammates. He was talking. He was being a leader, and that's what you ask for from a redshirt senior, especially in the state of the program right now where they have a lot of young guys and newcomers getting minutes for Southern Miss. You need a guy like Quentin Campbell to be able to step up and become a leader.
Top scorer, 10.5 per game, 68% free throw shooter, hits the first. Turned 23 earlier this month. So a bit of an older player experience-wise as well as in age. And that's a 5-0 advantage here for the Golden Eagles. Into the post area it goes. Here's Holyfield. Down to 10 seconds to shoot. Hard drive by Isaiah Traylor. Got the loose ball back and drew the whistle. Not a lot of rhythm right now to the Stephen F. Austin offensive game.
But they have been playing hard, and that's the one thing that you're looking to see if you're Kyle Keller, to make sure that your guys come out and approach this game in a manner to where it is important to them. You know, they haven't really been able to find much successfully on the offensive end of the floor. But one thing they haven't done a lot of early in this game is turn the basketball over. I mean, they do have 2 early turnovers, but it's a team that averages over 20 turnovers a game. So with that being said, 2 in the first 4 minutes, I guess that kind of puts them on pace instead of being a low number.
Leon Gilmore tagged with the foul on the free throw miss, but Stephen F. Austin off the schneid, getting one of those 2 to fall.
Spell schneid. Exactly.
I think it starts with an S. You can just kind of let it roll from there. Backdoor cut by Cortez Edwards. That sets up a 3-try from the corner. It was a good look for Quentin Campbell, but he was unable to hit it.
Very good action, very good execution right there. Just unable to come away with points because of it. But if you're Doc Sadler, you like the way guys are coming out and executing your offense.
Good hustle defensively there by Campbell. Doc Sadler would love to see his team be able to score in transition off of some of those defensive plays, but it'll be a foul against the Golden Eagles, and it'll be Lumberjacks basketball on the other side of this break in beautiful Honolulu, Hawaii. Day 2 of the Hawaiian Airlines Diamond Head Classic. Diamond Head Classic. It means it's semifinal round time. San Diego State already topping Tulsa. They're into the championship game on Christmas Day. San Francisco, Illinois State winner will meet the Aztecs. And success in the Diamond Head has meant good things in March. Butler in 2010 won the tournament, went to the title game in the NCAAs. Kansas State 2011 champs went to the second round. Arizona 2012 won the Diamond Head, got to the Sweet 16, as did Iowa State in 2013. And last year, Oklahoma won the Diamond Head Classic and made it all the way to the Final Four. 5 of the last 7 winners of the Hawaiian Airlines Diamond Head Classic have gone on to realize success in March.
You think that has something to do with you? How many of these have you done?
Every single one.
Have you done all?
Yeah.
This is your 8th one?
Yeah.
So then, no, it doesn't have anything to do with you, because in that case, it would be 7. So 5 of 7 means you don't get credit.
Here's the drive and kick out to Canet. Off the mark there. We saw San Diego State advancing to the championship game. A surprise certainly in the quarterfinal round with San Francisco topping a shorthanded Utah team, seeing one of its best players, Kyle Kuzma.
As you mentioned, that San Diego State team, that was actually the program that Arizona beat in 2012. So Steve Fisher, who has lost his last two championship tries here in Hawaii, 2012 here at the Diamond Head Classic and 2014 at the Maui Invitational, trying to get a championship win here.
Offensive foul called against Canet. Standing in there and taking that one.
And Stephen F. Austin still trying to get their first field goal on the afternoon. Actually made it there, but wiped off because of the charge call.
Yeah, that was taken by Bilal Abdur-Rahim, getting his first action of this Hawaiian Airlines Diamond Head Classic. The younger brother Sharif Abdur-Rahim, former Cal star, went on to play over a dozen years in the NBA.
Yeah, one of the things I've noticed with both these teams, especially, after watching practice on Wednesday and then coming in and watching them play in the games, and it was the case for both of them in practice, and we've seen it over the past game and 6 minutes plus that they played so far in this one. They throw a lot of blind passes, and so the play calls for, hey, you look at this, but oftentimes it's not there, it's not available, but they're just throwing it anyway because that's what the play calls for. You got to be able to read the defense behind them, and which is one of the reasons why both these teams have had so many turnovers to start the season.
Holland kicks it to Edwards in the corner. That one rattles in and out. Rebound tugged down by Traylor. But we were mentioning Utah losing Kyle Kuzma in the opening minute of that quarterfinal game yesterday against San Francisco. So who do you like in this tournament with now San Francisco and Illinois State, the other two teams vying for a spot in the title game?
Well, I like San Diego State, and honestly the reason I like them is because their ability to defend, and when you've got a guy like Zylan Cheatham spearing your team energy-wise on both ends of the floor, I believe that they have a great opportunity. And I think it's also going to be a very hard-fought game tonight between Illinois State and San Francisco, as we see Holland knocking down his second three-pointer of the game, and Kyle Keller not happy about the way that his team has come out in their approach. Doc Sadler has to be enthusiastic about what he's seen from the Golden Eagles so far.
What's going on with the Lumberjacks right now? Just 1 point to show for their efforts here through the first 6.5 minutes.
Well, really, they've had the turnovers early, and then they've often led to points on the other end of the floor for the Golden Eagles, and then Holland now knocking down the second three-pointer for him, but it hasn't been just about that. As you see, the overplay by T.J. Holyfield up top leads to the backdoor cut by Watts. No rim protection. As long as Holyfield is out on the perimeter, no rim protection for SFA underneath.
You said at the top of the broadcast that you were interested to see which team would make this game feel more important. So far, it seems pretty clear.
It does seem clear that the Golden Eagles have come out with much more energy in this game, and it's not just been on the offensive side of the floor, it's also been defensively, as Stephen F. Austin has yet to score a field goal, and that's not all because of Southern Miss's defense, but you do have to give them credit because they have done the job defensively playing to the scouting report.
Where does the offense come from here for Stephen F. Austin?
Well, you need to get the ball in the hands of Holyfield, and more importantly, in the area where he can attack, but he has to be more aggressive on the offensive end.
Kevon Harris can't hit the three. Rebound last touched out of bounds by the Lumberjacks. So another empty possession. Stephen F. Austin now 0 for 7 from the floor in this game.
And Southern Miss showed us flashes in the second half yesterday against San Diego State. They actually were getting blown out and made that a 5-point game in the second half. A number of turnovers ended up costing them and allowing San Diego State to be able to stretch it out to a 15-point win. But Southern Miss in the second half was much better as they go back to the same action.
Wow.
And Watts finishes much more emphatically on this possession.
Raheem Watts with the smash, and then a little grill action, and he gets scolded by the official, Peter Uzanis.
And I like what Uzanis did there. Instead of giving him a technical foul for taunting, he just gives him a warning. But when you throw it down like that, sometimes you got to flex a little bit. But Noah, you know about that. I see you flexing all the time. And you didn't even do anything to deserve it.
Didn't even get close to the bottom of the net. That one trickles off the iron. Bounces back out to Dallas Cameron. Long three try by Traylor, and they're still empty. Followed there in front of the rim by Harris. And Southern Miss now with the numbers in transition. Campbell. And he'll have a chance to reset it. A 12-1 advantage for Southern Miss. Abdul Rahim kicks it to Campbell in the corner. Hard drive baseline, tried to dump it down. Watts winds up with it. Sets up his mate for three. And unable to hit that one was Michael Ramey. And now it'll stay here in the direction of Southern Miss. 11:53 left to play in the opening half, and Stephen F. Austin has a single point. 0 for 9 from the floor. Hasn't been pretty for them inside the arena. Outside, though, it's gorgeous. Well, if you're flying into the islands for the Hawaiian Airlines Diamond Head Classic, you best be doing so via Hawaiian Airlines, of course. There is the 2017 field for this event. Your thoughts on the selection of teams?
Well, you have to like the fact that you've got Miami from the ACC coming out, USC from the Pac-12. Utah State has been impressive. Davidson, Bob McKillop and his group, I mean, they just keep rolling along. One of the best offensive minds in college basketball. So I like the field, and I'm just hoping that I'm a part of it, flying on one of those Hawaiian Airlines planes, coming in to be a part of it next year.
Little message for the ESPN brass. They don't want you to not be able to hike and experience Cocoa Head, right?
Exactly, and that's my plan. I've got to train for that for a full year now.
How about the start to the season put together by the USC Trojans?
One of the very few undefeated teams left in college basketball. Andy Enfield getting the job done non-conference-wise. And see what they're able to do in the Pac-12 this year.
Edwards couldn't finish in traffic. There is no error on the graphic. We have played now over 8 minutes, and Stephen F. Austin has yet to hit a field goal. They are 0 for 9 from the field. A turnover there again for the Lumberjacks. They have just 1 point to speak of.
And now 6 turnovers already. And I just mentioned about 3 minutes ago that they had done fairly well not turning the basketball over. But just like that, 6 turnovers for Stephen F. Austin, who averages 20 turnovers per game. And when you have an offense that often struggles like Southern Miss does, you can't continue to give them more and more opportunities to gain confidence on the offensive end of the floor. Southern Miss has 3 turnovers, yet Stephen F. Austin unable to capitalize on any of those so far in this game.
Pass down to the baseline, a little too strong for Abdul Rahim to get there.
And part of the reason why you can't capitalize on the Southern Miss turnovers is because with the blind passes that I mentioned before, at least they throw them out of bounds. So they're not live ball turnovers that turn into points on the other end of the floor for Stephen F. Austin. Stephen F. Austin's had turnovers that lead to points on the other end for the Golden Eagles.
So the Lumberjacks trying to figure something out. How much of this is just a lack of execution on their part? How much of this is the Southern Miss defense putting in work?
I think it's a combination of the both. I don't think Stephen F. Austin right now is a very good offensive team. But Southern Miss has been more energetic defensively. And I think a lot of that comes from some confidence that they earned yesterday in playing against a very good San Diego State team where they really outplayed San Diego State in the second half of that game.
Chase Winchester, who has played sparingly to say the least at the free throw line, a 6-foot freshman from DeSoto, Texas. And you know he's played sparingly when he's one of the only players who doesn't have his name on the back of the jersey.
I wasn't going to mention that, but I'm glad that you did. But it shows you as to what Kyle Keller has had to resort to, and more importantly, just to get some point guard play on the floor that he's happy with.
Here's Abdul Rahim in the dribble for Southern Miss. Goes behind the back. Great drop off to Eddie Davis, who flushes it.
Abdul Rahim with some nifty ball handling. We've seen that on a number of possessions right now. And I played against his brother for a very long time in the NBA, who was a great player. Not just good, a great player. But I don't think Reef had handles like that.
And we got a foul against Southern Miss. Yeah, Bilal Abdul Rahim, younger brother of Sharif Abdul Rahim. They're 23 years apart, but he showed off some of the skill set here.
A nice behind the back move to be able to find Eddie Davis for the finish over the top. Not just the behind the back, but the dropping the dime as well. Sharif was about a bucket, though. Sharif wasn't doing a lot of passing the basketball. He was about putting points on the boards, and he did it very well.
Sharif now an executive within the National Basketball Association. As that shot goes, the first made field goal of this game for Stephen F. Austin, and it comes from Chase Winchester, who has 3 of their 4 points.
And at this point now, we're wondering, why has Winchester not been playing more often, and why doesn't he get his name on the back of his jersey? Because he's had a tremendous impact since coming into this game.
Good looking pull up there from Michael Ramey, 6'5" senior from Indianapolis, averaging 5 points a game. It's a 16-4 advantage. Trailer long 3. That one clangs off the heel, and Ramey tracks down the loose basketball. 9.5 to play here. Day 2 of the Hawaiian Airlines Diamond Head Classic. Kanoa Leahy and Corey Alexander here. The Stan Sheriff Center on the campus of the University of Hawaii. A takeaway for Stephen F. Austin. Trailer gets it right side. Dallas Cameron for 3. He was one of the bright spots in the loss to Tulsa yesterday. Had 16 points on 5 of 8 shooting.
And just like that, now a little bit of life and a little bit of energy for Stephen F. Austin. And a lot of that having to do with the fact that they were able to pick it up defensively. Winchester coming into the game, attacking the rim. Earlier getting to the free throw line, and then this time attacking the rim, being able to finish. And then on the defensive end of the floor, forcing the turnover, Trailer is able to find Cameron beyond the three-point arc, knocking down his first shot on the afternoon. And just like that, a little bit of momentum on the side of the Lumberjacks.
This is a Stephen F. Austin program that has not had to deal with much adversity, certainly, over the last few years under previous head coach Brad Underwood, who moved on to Oklahoma State. They went 53-1 in 3 years in the Southland Conference, won 89 games. Of course, pulled off the most lopsided upset by a 14 seed over a 3 seed in last year's NCAA tournament with the 70-56 victory over West Virginia, and got oh so close to making it to the Sweet 16 had it not been for a last-second tip-in against Notre Dame. But they are off to a 4-6 start. They returned only 31% of their scoring from a year ago, and so it is certainly a reshuffling with this new coaching regime under Kyle Keller.
It is that, and reshuffling with Southern Miss as well. They actually started that possession with only 4 guys on the court. Eddie Davis didn't realize he was in the game.
I mean, maybe Doc Sadler is feeling confident about the start of this game, but
we only need 4.
Edwards drops it off to Davis, and he draws the contact from Jovan Grujic. His first foul. Davis will go to the free throw line.
And there's been some pretty nifty interior passing by Southern Miss. We saw Abdur Rahim find Davis for the finish earlier. And just like that, Edwards again getting into the paint is able to find Davis as he gets fouled instead of being able to finish, getting to the free throw line with opportunity to put points on the board.
And Davis missing the first try, averaging 8 points, 7 rebounds per game, 65% free throw shooter. 6'7" sophomore from Las Vegas, Nevada, as Quentin Campbell checks back in for Southern Miss. Of course, Southern Miss going through its struggles here in recent years. Just coming out of a self-imposed postseason ban in the light of violations that occurred under the previous regime and head coach Donnie Tyndall. They are eligible for the postseason this year, but still dealing with the forfeiture of scholarships, and so it is an uphill climb, to say the least, for Doc Sadler.
It is, but it makes games like this even more important. Right now, I believe Stephen Austin only has 1 win versus a Division I opponent this season. And so it makes this game even more paramount to be able to come out here and try to get a win here in this tournament.
Great block by Davis against Grujic. And Kevin Holland comes out of the mosh pit with it. It's a 10-point advantage here for the Golden Eagles. Lost control of it. Now it's a foot race. Holyfield takes it right into Watts. And the whistle is blown. Second foul on Raheem Watts. So that'll send TJ Holyfield to the free throw line, still seeking his first points of this game. He fouled out against Tulsa yesterday, was certainly limited in terms of total minutes because of his foul accumulation, finished with 10 points in that one, but he is of the utmost importance to the success of this team.
He was a difference maker yesterday against San Diego State, and he was able to do it in limited minutes, of course, as you talked about. But the first 4 minutes of that game, Stephen F. Austin really, against Tulsa, they outplayed Tulsa in the first 4 minutes. And then the first 4 minutes of the second half, they outplayed Tulsa. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that Holyfield was able to stay on the court. But once he got in foul trouble, it made a huge difference the way Tulsa was able to attack the basket and without really much resistance at all with him on the bench.
Holyfield goes 2 for 2.
And by scoring, Stephen F. Austin is then able to set up their full court pressure. Southern Miss has not handled the basketball well as of late.
And there's a near steal along the sideline by Josh Huntley.
Now all of a sudden we see some energy by the Lumberjacks bench.
And an applause from Kyle Keller and company as he sees his players starting to tighten up here in the opening half of this consolation game. Go inside the play. Corey, what do you got?
Well, you see the old adage of fool me once, shame on you, as we see T.J. Holyfield overplaying Watts and no help on the backside by Harris. They're able to get exposed at the backside. Watts is able to get an easy basket at the rim. But that's the fool me once, shame on you. This is simply about fool me twice, shame on me. The exact same set, exact same play, and yet still no help on the backside of this as Watts this time finishes emphatically for the dunk. At the end of the day, at some point when a team beats you with something, you've got to learn from it. It shouldn't take 2 times for you to get beat to learn from that possession.
17-9 advantage Southern Miss on Stephen F. Austin. Lumberjacks shooting 14%, 2 of 14 from the floor, but 4 of 6 from the free throw line. That's kept them relatively in it, but a nice move by Cortez Edwards, who you've been impressed with here through a day and a half.
Very much so. Back in the starting lineup today after coming off the bench for the majority of this season. But he was a difference maker yesterday, just his ability to be able to get into the paint and find his teammates and also score at the rim. And defensively, he was very good on the basketball. So Edwards not only impressing me, but impressing Doc Sadler enough to realize that he needed him in the game at the beginning. And it's paid off for Southern Miss today as they got off to a great start in this game.
Josh Conley committing the personal foul, so Josh Huntley goes to the free throw line, and he knocks in the front end. Huntley has played only 3 years of organized basketball. Certainly is raw, but Kyle Keller says that he provides some much-needed inside depth to this rotation. Transfer from San Jacinto Junior College. And this is the second free throw. It's a 9-point lead here for Southern Miss. We have seen some signs, though, at least, of a ramping up in intensity from Stephen F. Austin, trying to force the pressure on the defensive end.
Well, and that's really what they've been about. Their program has been about for a long period of time, is forcing turnovers. But the problem has been not just forcing them, they've been turning it over on the other end. They're actually averaging more turnovers than they're forcing throughout the season so far. 17 forced turnovers to 20 turnovers given up a game.
T.J. Holyfield committing the foul, his first, so that sends Quentin Campbell to the free throw line. 6'7" senior from Wilmer, Alabama. Knocks in the first. Samali Niemanen now checks in for Stephen F. Austin.
So the art of distraction is a special one.
And ironically, because it's a smaller crowd,
yes, I love the way
that distraction is more audible.
I love the way she stayed calm and then just allowed her inner rage to come all out in one scream.
Trailer missed from up close. Southern Miss in transition. And it's an offensive foul called against Campbell. Good job by Niemanen setting his feet.
Check this poise and patience. And then the deep breath. to come with the screen. And then just go back to calm as though it was nothing. Ladies and gentlemen, and for those of you who don't see it, this is what I deal with Canole over here on the sideline. He just hits the mute button so you can't hear the screen, but this happens often during our telecast.
I mean, just that kind of shrieking coming from such a sweet face. She had us all fooled.
That's what makes it so great.
Sloppy possession here for Southern Miss, but they get bailed out with a foul called against Samuli Nieminen.
Nieminen just a bit over anxious on that possession. Invading the cylinder of Cortez Edwards. Had he just stood his ground and basically went vertical into the trap, they had Southern Miss in a bad position, but a little too anxious to try to come away with the turnover.
It was the 6th team foul for Stephen F. Austin. So next one will send Southern Miss to the free throw line. Golden Eagles have committed 8 fouls, so Lumberjacks in the bonus already. 6 minutes to go here in half number 1. Ten seconds to shoot. Edwards calling for the screen. Watts will hoist the 3. Oh boy. It did not hit the rim. And so that follow-up by Josh Conley is waved off. Shot clock violation. And Stephen F. Austin takes over.
A good defensive stand by Stephen F. Austin on that possession. Forcing a contested shot at the end of the shot clock. That's a coach's dream.
Southern Miss shooting 43% from the field. Here's a takeaway and a finish with emphasis, courtesy Josh Conley.
And Josh Conley doing a great job anticipating that pass, getting right out into the passing lane, and once he got in the open court, there wasn't anyone catching him.
Stephen F. Austin, Corey, just 2 of 16 from the field, 1 of 8 from outside the arc. Here's Holyfield trying to change matters. Can't do it there. Seeing some patience by Southern Miss offensively.
And Southern Miss actually has more turnovers, 8 turnovers, than has Stephen F. Austin. But yet, you would think that they've been the more efficient offensive team, in which they have, as Michael Ramey steps up and knocks down another jumper. And just like that, Southern Miss has their offense back on track.
Timeout taken by Stephen F. Austin. And we're seeing Quentin Campbell, one of the starters for Southern Miss, walking gingerly over to the Golden Eagles huddle.
Nice mid-range play. Michael Ramey, jab step, beautiful footwork to knock down the jumper with anticipation for the steal. And then, of course, the finish is always going to be most important, especially when you can find yourself posturing on SportsCenter.
Basketball version of the pick 6. It's the pick 2. Josh Conley, how'd you like that finish? See what Conley's numbers have been. 6'7" freshman from Inglewood, California. Spent last year at LaGrange Sound Doctrine Academy in Georgia, so moved around a bit.
One of the best things about being at a tournament like this and staying in the, everyone staying in close proximity. Last night, as I'm going out to dinner, not quite 10 o'clock Hawaiian time, but it's about 5 till.
The drive there by Ivan Canet.
And I noticed, and I'm not going to say any names or either team, but I noticed a lot of guys in a full sprint to get back to the hotel. And I'm assuming they were almost late for curfew.
Good effort by Canet. Had the layup at one end and defensively laying out to try to disrupt things at the other.
You talk about hustle. Similar to the hustle I saw last night, you see Canet hustling over to knock away the basketball.
There's D'Angelo Richardson. He's a walk-on Now assuming the point guard responsibilities here as he checks in. Gets it to Abdur Rahim. Ramey is tripped up and fouled by Dallas Cameron. 3:52 left to play in the first half. A 25-12 advantage for Southern Miss. Again, Stephen F. Austin struggling. Still, you use air quotes when you say struggling when you're in this place. How about some fun facts on Diamond Head, the namesake for this wonderful tournament, the iconic landmark, a dormant volcano located on the South Island of Oahu. It's been inactive for 150,000 years. It was originally called Le'ahi, which means the brow of the tuna. That's because it looked like a tuna. Named Diamond Head by 19th century British sailors who thought the calcite crystals were diamonds. By the way, have you tried tuna, also known as ahi, here in the sashimi or poke style that is popular in the islands?
Not a fan of tuna, and even less of a fan now that I see that they possibly have eyebrows. So that in itself has kind of killed any anticipation of eating tuna for me. Never saw a tuna with the eyebrow before, and now that I know that's a possibility, I'm good. So I'm sure, hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Oh boy, it did.
Yeah, yeah. And not only does the tuna have an eyebrow, but the eyebrow actually can move. Yes. And so when you have a moving eyebrow on a tuna, that does not make me want to eat that. No, it does not.
I'm liking the idea of a tuna doing the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson Peoples eyebrow.
That could be a pretty popular tuna, though.
As Dallas Cameron misses the three from the left corner. I'm going to get you to try some ahi sashimi before this tournament is over.
Listen, as long as there are chocolate-covered macadamia nuts here, you don't ever have to worry about me trying tuna, buddy.
Abdur Rahim missing the outside shot. We got a whistle against Stephen F. Austin. It's going to go against Josh Huntley. That's his first. Maybe I'll bring some with me Christmas morning. We'll be here bright and early. First game on Christmas Day is 7:30 a.m. here in the islands.
I love the way you said maybe as though there was a choice. Otherwise, we are sending you back home, buddy. I mean, it's early enough to where you won't have to battle any traffic getting back.
Time to disrupt the shooter. At least attempt to.
Oh, my goodness. She is slacking, not paying attention to the game? What is, you know what it is? The same thing that's wrong with this young generation.
Yeah.
Tweeting.
It's the cell phone.
Texting. That's what's wrong. She's not on her job right now.
Oh, or maybe she's just trying to pull the switcheroo, right? Like when you start to expect it, sometimes it can be more distracting when you don't hear it.
And they actually did miss the free throw, so therefore, maybe that approach worked.
There's a method to the madness. Harris steps inside the arc. And they're trying to get as close as possible. Now 3 of 20 from the floor. Gilmore. And a long overdue made bucket for Stephen F. Austin. And you look up on the scoreboard, and although they're shooting just 19%, Corey, they're down by 12. It's not like this is completely out of hand here, as Abdur Rahim can't hit the reverse layup.
It's not completely out of hand, I agree, but when you struggle to score the way that Stephen F. Austin has in this game, it makes that 12-point lead so insurmountable simply because it's been such a struggle for them to be able to put points on the board.
Connect for 3. Just the second made 3 of the game for Stephen F. Austin.
And Connect must have heard me. That's why he put 3 more on the board, and now we've got a single-digit lead and a near turnover for Southern Miss.
You're almost starting to see things swing the other way, where Southern Miss builds the big lead, kind of starts putting it into cruise control, and all of a sudden an uptick in the action from the Lumberjacks side.
So we saw that earlier. We saw that earlier in the half where Southern Miss built the 12-1 lead, and just like that, Stephen F. Austin was able to put a couple baskets together and make it reasonable. And then another run by Southern Miss, and Stephen F. Austin now seems to have a response.
Here's Campbell. We saw him limping over to the huddle a few minutes ago. Looks to be okay. Misses the pull-up, though, and a chance for the Lumberjacks to cut further into this deficit. Here's Connett, squares up for three. Got it! Down to a 6-point game.
That 12-point lead cut in half by the great equalizer, the three-point basket. Two back-to-back by Connett.
An 8-0 run for Stephen F. Austin. Campbell the riser. How you like that?
That was a big bucket for Southern Miss. As Stephen F. Austin has gained the momentum.
The largest lead was 15 for Southern Miss at the 4:40 mark. And then Connett started doing some Ivan Connett-like things and gets fouled on this sequence trying a three.
Back-to-back threes by Ivan Connett. The second one at the top of the key knocks it down to make it a 6-point game. But on the other end of the floor, Quentin Campbell breaks the streak for Southern Miss with the soft touch around the rim.
But Connett fouled moments ago, attempting a three by Raheem Watts. Walking a little gingerly over to the free throw line.
Connett actually twisted his ankle on the previous possession before on defense. I saw him limping around a little bit as Raheem Watts has picked up his third foul. 4 points for him already as we showed the two back-to-back plays where he was able to get loose at the rim.
Now the foul occurred after the Connett shot. The official said it was after he was landing following the three-point attempt. So it wasn't a three-shot foul. It was, interestingly enough, a 1-and-1 bonus. But he was able to hit both.
I'm not sure how that's possible. Because isn't that still a part of his shot?
That's what I'm thinking.
I don't want to be thinking the same thing you're thinking, so I need to change my thinking.
Well, I'm thinking some ahi sashimi at the conclusion of this one. Holland picking up the dribble. Edwards up, in, and one. And it's going to be a foul on Holyfield, trying to take the charge, his second.
Cortez Edwards came up with a number of big baskets yesterday in the second half of their game against San Diego State, but none of them as big as this basket here as the first half comes to conclusion. And Stephen F. Austin making a run at Southern Miss, getting to the rim, finishing through the contact, and an opportunity for the three-point foul.
Edwards put together a solid outing against San Diego State at 13 points, 4 assists in 35 minutes time. Also had 3 steals, but it was his activity that sparked the comeback by Southern Miss. They trailed by as many as 18 in the first half before cutting it down to 5 with 12 minutes to go in that one. Aztecs were able to finish the deal, though, 66-51. But a lot of that comeback was sparked by Cortez Edwards.
Absolutely. He had a huge hand in many big plays, and he was attacking the rim constantly, living in the paint, and being able to finish against a large front line of San Diego State.
Can't complete the three-point play, though. About a 2.5-second differential between the shot clock and game clock. And an 8-point differential on the scoreboard. Here's Harris, still scoreless so far in this one. Cameron driving right baseline. Out to Harris, someone's got to shoot it. It'll be Winchester on the step back. And that's how this opening half will come to a close. So Southern Miss builds a 15-point advantage, but Stephen F. Austin able to ramp up the energy just a bit in order to cut it down to 8 by the intermission as both teams make their way to the locker rooms. Day 2 of the Hawaiian Airlines Diamond Head Classic. We're in Hawaii, so Santa doesn't necessarily use a sleigh. Sometimes he uses a canoe.
Santa better not get my gifts wet. I'm telling you that now.
The namesake of this wonderful tournament, Diamond Head, the Hawaiian Airlines Diamond Head Classic. Consolation game about to start the second half between Stephen F. Austin and Southern Miss. Right now, the Golden Eagles up 30-22. Back in the stand, Sheriff Center, Kanoa Leahy and Corey Alexander. Now, despite the Lumberjacks, as you see, everybody in the dancing mood here when you're spending the holiday season in the islands. Despite the Lumberjacks shooting 24% and turning the ball over 7 times in that first half, it's still just an 8-point game here at the break.
And we saw the equalizer, Connett knocking down 2 3-pointers right there close to the end of the first half. And just like that, what was a 12-point lead went to 6. So with the 3-pointer in the game, it makes every game of any lead unattainable to be able to come over.
You have Southern Miss on the other side, really came out with the superior energy, but that started to level off a bit as they built that large lead and kind of fell asleep. There's no sleeping for these young girls.
And there is no lack of energy there either. Get Juju on that beat then. If you're going to do it, just do it.
That was the infamous heckler from half number 1, turning into the dancer during the intermission. TJ Holyfield, first possession, gets the rock down low, and he draws the foul. It's going to go against Raheem Watts. And that will be foul number 4 on Raheem Watts. So it took him 13 seconds to pick up his 4th in the second half.
And design play to go into Holyfield at the beginning of the second half to try to get that foul on Watts, but more importantly to try to establish TJ Holyfield, who really wasn't very aggressive in the first half trying to score when he got his opportunities on the interior.
First free throw is good for Holyfield. He's got 3 points, all of them coming at the line. He's only attempted 1 official field goal in this game.
Hence my point of him not being that aggressive. He's got the ball a number of times in the post, but he's been looking to pass it out in comparison to attacking. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that Southern Miss is sending a couple of defenders at him, but I believe he can still be aggressive in trying to score.
Southern Miss able to break that Stephen F. Austin pressure. Get all the way down to 15 seconds to shoot here on the shot clock. They lob it in low to Davis. Underneath to Abdul Rahim, bounced off of his foot. Campbell goes cross court. Open look for Holland. And a good fight for the board, courtesy Josh Huntley. The Lumberjacks can cut further into this deficit, which was 15 at one time. Connect for 3, yes! It's down to 3.
And get Ivy Connett a tremendous amount of credit for sticking with it. The young man was unable to make a field goal yesterday, but comes in on the second day playing back-to-back games, and now 3 3-pointers here in this contest, and they've all been big in allowing his team to get back into the game.
A nice pass from Abdul Rahim to Davis, who got clobbered up top by Kevon Harris. But Ivan Connett has turned it on from distance here in this game.
But you see a complete breakdown defensively. Quentin Campbell goes underneath the screen on Connett, and I'm not sure. Wasn't in the locker room to find out what Doc Sadler said about it, but when a guy is one of the leading scorers on Stephen F. Austin's team and a very good 3-point shooter, there's never a time to go underneath the screen on him. That's a defensive breakdown that Connett makes Southern Miss pay.
And Davis missing the first free throw. Yeah, Connett coming in averaging just under 13 points a game, was held to just 2 points in the loss to Tulsa, was 0 for 5 from the field, so he is starting to make up for that. Certainly with the 13 so far in this one, 3 for 5 from outside the arc. As Davis hits the second free throw. And what was looking like it was going to be an all-out lopsided romp in the first half has turned into a competitive ball game here in half number 2. We got a reach-in foul called against Holland. Kevin Holland, the son of James Holland. He's a former Harlem Globetrotter and a current assistant at Western Michigan. He's got some good family lines here among the Southern Miss roster, with Bilal Abdul Rahim, the younger brother of Sharif Abdul Rahim. You also have Clay Weatherspoon on the roster, the son of Clarence Weatherspoon, who is now an assistant on the staff. And that foul called away from the ball against TJ Holyfield. The legend, Clarence Weatherspoon, we talked to him yesterday. And, I mean, he just walks around and people give him respect.
Oh, yeah, that's Big Spoon. And so you have to call his son Little Spoon. I mean, that's the only way you can look at that. I mean, you know how you go look into your silverware drawer, you got a Big Spoon, you got a Little Spoon. Coach is Big Spoon, the all-time best player in Southern Miss history. His son, Little Spoon.
Short shot from Davis is good, and the assist to Bilal Abdul Rahim, who started the first game of the season But Abdur-Rahim has 3 DNPs since then. So we're seeing him get heavy minutes in this one, Corey.
And you see what his skill set is. He's a very good passer, especially once he gets into the painted area in tight spaces. He's always finding his teammates. You haven't seen him really do much trying to score yet, but one of those guys that you love to have on the team because he's going to get you the basketball.
The and one by Holyfield. It's Abdur-Rahim committing that foul. Holyfield able to put in his first made field goal of the game.
Well, we talked about Abdur-Rahim, and what he does is give up some size to T.J. Holyfield, who now has become just a bit more aggressive here in the second half and is able to finish off a beautiful feed from Gilmore. The high-low passing from Stephen F. Austin has gotten him the opportunity to make this a one-possession game.
Holyfield, the sophomore from Albuquerque, New Mexico. He is the younger brother of former Sam Houston State center Michael Holyfield, who was the 2015 Southland Conference Defensive Player of the Year, currently playing pro ball in Australia. It's a 3-point differential. Got to give credit to Kyle Keller and this Stephen F. Austin team for not throwing in the towel. They could have done so very early here in this game.
Especially when they weren't making shots, because that's the one thing that can deter your energy more than anything else. But they were able to continue to stem the tide and come up with a couple of baskets. And just like that, you see the defensive energy has picked up, forcing another turnover, now the 10th turnover for Southern Miss. And an opportunity to get a tie ball game or even make it just a 1-point game if they're unable to get a three-pointer. But you have to love the energy that the Lumberjacks have brought out of the locker room in the second half.
And now it's the Golden Eagles looking a bit rattled here in the first few minutes of this second stanza.
And we saw this exact same thing from the Golden Eagles yesterday. They were getting beat pretty handily in the first half by San Diego State, and they came out and made that a 5-point game in the second half just based upon their energy and effort. And now you see it being done to them here this afternoon.
Active hands everywhere. Gilmore loses it. Southern Miss controls.
So Doc Sadler actually bringing Raheem Watts back into the game with those 4 fouls. It's a lot of time left to be played in this game. I would look for him to kind of be very picky with his minutes right now, making sure he gets him out in situations where he's going to be on the defensive end of the floor.
Holland hoists and hits. He's hit now 3 from downtown. So what is the thinking on bringing Raheem Watts in with the 4 fouls as Kevon Harris strikes for the first time in this game?
Well, the thinking is you needed some type of lift because the game had somewhat gone in favor, the momentum had gone in favor of Stephen F. Austin. But if I'm Southern Miss, you got to make sure you don't put him on Holyfield in the post. But Gilmore also is very adept at trying to drive the basketball to the rim, so there's really nowhere to hide Watts on the defensive end of the floor.
Raheem getting the bucket. Quick response by Leon Gilmore at the other end.
And you see a great decision by Gilmore to challenge Watts, because if he picks up another foul, he's out. So it's not as though he can really put up a tremendous amount of defensive resistance.
Gotta like that take by Cortez Edwards. And now all of a sudden it's up and down efficient action. Who'd have thought? Both teams 4 for 5 from the floor, respectively, in this second half. 7 straight made field goals combined by both teams. And now a fight for the loose ball. That's going to be a timeout given to Stephen F. Austin. But now we got a competitive ball game, Corey Alexander.
Cortez Edwards has continued his attack at the basket as Kevon Harris knocks down the 3 on one end of the floor, but Edwards finds his way to the rim as Southern Miss still leads by 5.
Hawaiian Airlines Diamond Head Classic Day 2 action. Consolation game between Southern Miss and Stephen F. Austin. Of course, if you're flying out to the islands, there's really only one way to do so, via Hawaiian Airlines. You're already in Hawaii when you board the plane. Majestic view over the namesake of this tournament, but stealing the show here in this consolation matchup, Ruby Davis. That happens to be Kyle Keller, the head coach for Stephen F. Austin. That happens to be his niece. Her mom is Keller's sister, and I mean, all eyes have been on Ruby pretty much since the tip.
And I think Ruby had an outfit change. I think she is in concert right now. I believe that is a different outfit than she had on earlier when she was trying to distract the free throw shooter. Now she's in intermission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a star.
She is that.
She's a star in the making, if not already an established one.
No question about it. Working hard here today.
Follow-up is good there by Samuli Nieminen. And what was once a 15-point deficit for Stephen F. Austin in the first half, back down to 3. Much to the delight of Ruby Davis.
I believe Ruby's dancing may have had something to do with it.
They needed a spark.
And she was the spark. She still is the spark.
Needed some inspiration, and she's continuing to pound the steps of the aisleway here at the Stan Sheriff Center, chanting defense, but they could have used a little more of that on that take by Quentin Campbell. Under 15 minutes to play. Up to a 5-point advantage here for the Golden Eagles. Cameron lines up a 3. Cameron hits the deck. Now hands swiping at the basketball. Bodies on the floor. And a hustle play for Stephen F. Austin. Connett trying to beat Southern Miss down the court, and a blocking foul is called against the Golden Eagles. It's going to go against Quentin Campbell, and that's number 2 on him.
And of course, a great play by Connett to attack both players, and defensively give Dallas Cameron a tremendous amount of credit for getting up off the floor and getting back into play defensively, all over the loose ball, and then the beautiful feed to Connett, who's unable to finish but does get to the free throw line. But Kanoa Leahy would have actually just caught that and stopped and pulled up and shot a three-pointer. Kanoa would not have gone in there for that contact. He would have went for the 3.
I don't like the paint area, man. Too many bodies in there. We'll be back. Keller communicating with his players in the huddle, and you see some of the emotion coming from Kyle Keller, who certainly can let it fly, that's for sure. Speaking of letting it fly, Ivan Connett doing so here for Stephen F. Austin.
And Connett, after going 0 for 5 yesterday, was able to break the seal on the basket. And as we always say, it only takes one to start a streak. And just like that, Connett now 4 field goals, 3 of those beyond the 3-point arc, as he's been able to put his team on his back. And now, with 13 points, has gotten them back into the game and an opportunity to make it even closer at the free throw line with the opportunity for 2.
Connett, a 6'4" junior from Lake Worth, Florida, originally committed to FIU out of high school, but was forced to go the JUCO route. He is a transfer from Palm Beach State Junior College, signed with Stephen F. Austin before the departure of former coach Brad Underwood to Oklahoma State. So he held true to his commitment. And here he is now in the Hawaiian Airlines Diamond Head Classic, trying to fight for a victory for the Lumberjacks. See, again, some extended pressure here from Stephen F. Austin. Attacked nicely by Southern Miss, and winds up free throw attempts for Cortez Edwards. Foul called against Neiman in his second.
Just another one of those opportunities where Southern Miss needs a basket to kind of keep Stephen F. Austin at bay. The ball ends up in the hands of Cortez Edwards, and he makes the right play. Oftentimes he's making plays for his teammates. This time going to the rim, getting to the free throw line, and knocking down the first and 2.
Pressure handled well that time by Southern Miss. And quick shots by Cortez Edwards. Able to hit both of them. So the lead is back to a half dozen. Here's Connett open. That one off the heel. And a good rebound by Eddie Davis. We're going to have a whistle against Chase Winchester. He was trying to get up under the chin of Cortez Edwards. A little too much contact for the officials.
He did a great job of doing so. The only problem was he stuck his hands out. If you put your hands on an opponent that far away from the basket, that's an automatic call. You make it very easy for the officials to call that one.
3 subs inserted into the game by Kyle Keller. TJ Holyfield back out there along with Gilmore, as well as Kevon Harris. Runner not there. Great left-handed tip by Bilal Abdur-Rahim. And you start to wonder, how is it possible that he racked up 3 DNPs already this season with what we've seen from him?
Absolutely, because he's had a tremendous impact on his game, more so with his passing, but now getting involved with his rebounding as well. But just like that, another 3-pointer for Stephen F. Austin.
And we're going to have a whistle. It's going to go against Leon Gilmore. And there have been a couple of instances of at least hints of chippiness on the floor between some of these guys.
But I believe the officials have done a great job of communicating with the players and keeping them away from technical fouls, but also, educating them and instructing them how to stay away from putting them in the position to where they're going to get one of those techs.
Lumberjacks in control here offensively. Here's Holyfield. Back to Harris. He's hit 2 of these. Make it a 3rd.
And Harris not coming in with the reputation of being a shooter, but a number of big 3-pointers today.
And then grabs the rebound and leads the transition. Just a 28% 3-point shooter, but he's 3 for 4 from out there here in this one.
And now in a position for Stephen F. Austin to take the lead as that basket goes off. The ball almost goes all the way down and comes back out on the Holyfield 3.
Edwards calls for a timeout. Yeah, that went about as far down as possible without counting. But Kevon Harris keeping Stephen F. Austin close, Corey.
Well, Kevon Harris, we know about his ability to attack the rim, but yet the 3-point shooting for him today has been a bonus for the Lumberjacks.
Diamond Head Classic. Picturesque day here in Honolulu, Hawaii. San Diego State. It'll be a Merry Christmas for them as they will participate in the Diamond Head Classic Championship game. They defeated Tulsa earlier. They await the winner of San Francisco, Illinois State. That semifinal set to go at 10 Eastern on ESPN2. Back here at the Stan Sheriff Center on the campus of the University of Hawaii. Kanoa Leahy and Corey Alexander, and what looked like it could have been a blowout in the first half. 15-point advantage for Southern Miss all the way down to 2. You see the past champions here over the course of the history of the Diamond Head Classic. This is the 8th year of the tournament. We showed you earlier in the game, 5 of the last 7 winners of this event have gone on to experience great success in March.
And the one you see in 2012, Arizona, with the win over San Diego State by a huge block at the end of the game by Nick Johnson. Steve Fisher still has that on mind as his team has now put themselves in the opportunity to be able to come away with a championship here at the Hawaiian Airlines Diamond Head Classic.
Michael Ramey missing from 3 range. Nice pick and roll there. Gilmore getting it from Harris and getting fouled on the way to the hoop. Why do you think that is a trend, though? Why are these kinds of non-conference, preseason, if you will, tournaments so valuable for a team in the long run?
Well, I believe they're valuable, one, because it puts you in a position to be able to play almost a conference tournament style of play early in the year. And you get to find out a lot about your team because your guys often play tired, because when you're playing 3 games in 4 days, you don't have the opportunity to really be able to go through full scouting reports and your normal routine. So you find out a lot about your team, but also your team finds out how they have to go about being successful, especially in conference tournament time. And so, of course, that's the easiest way to get to, I won't call it easy, but the best way to get to the NCAA tournament is to go win your conference tournament. This kind of gives you a little bit of time to prepare ahead of time for just that.
Especially for a lot of these brands of teams from these kinds of conferences that we're seeing here in the Diamond Head Classic. How about the score here? We are tied for the first time in this game as Campbell misses from the corner. Southern Miss has led throughout till moments ago. Harris unable to give Stephen F. Austin the lead there. Tried to save it from going out of bounds, but it belongs to Southern Miss.
But even in looking at the scoreboard right now, seeing this as a tie game, we have to go back and remember that this was a 12-1 game. Southern Miss got off to a great start. Stephen F. Austin, we weren't sure if they really even wanted to participate in this game. They had very little energy from the beginning, but just like that, and you see the young man pressuring the ball, Chase Winchester, he had a lot to do with this game turning around, and just like that, his defense has led to the first lead of this game for Stephen F. Austin.
They have completed the turnaround. Trailing by as many as 15 points in the first half. It is a 10-0 run for the Lumberjacks and a timeout signaled by Doc Sadler. And we're seeing some jubilance on the side of Stephen F. Austin, so much so that the officials actually told them, all right, calm it down and take it back to the bench area, but they've completed the comeback, Corey.
A textbook trap by Gilmore and Winchester. And beautiful passing, getting in the passing lanes right there in order to be able to make a feed for the first lead of the game for Stephen F. Austin.
So Stephen F. Austin withstood the slow start, certainly withstood the energy and enthusiasm that was initiated by Southern Miss, and they have claimed the lead. What do the Golden Eagles now have to try to do to reclaim this?
Well, the Golden Eagles have to continue to stay poised, and, you know, they've done a pretty good job actually handling the pressure early in this game from Stephen F. Austin, but recently it's been more of uncontrolled passes, getting out of control individually and trying to make plays that aren't involved in the scheme of what Coach Sadler wants for them to do. So right now, but you have to give Stephen F. Austin credit for picking up their defensive ability as well.
In fact, disallowing Kevin Holland to inbound the ball, and Southern Miss forced to signal for a timeout, and Doc Sadler clearly not pleased. Stephen F. Austin, it was clear they were the beasts of the Southland Conference. So much success over the last 4 seasons. 4 straight regular season titles under Brad Underwood. They lost just 1 conference game in 3 years. They were 53-1 over the course of that span, and then achieved NCAA tournament wins in 2014 against VCU and in 2016 against West Virginia. But they lost a host of players that helped get them to that point. They returned just 31% of the scoring from a season ago, including Thomas Walkup, the first repeat Southland Player of the Year. And you see all the way down the line, even Trey Pinckney, who is now part of this staff for Stephen F. Austin.
And Trey Pinckney has a tremendous influence with the guards, especially for the Lumberjacks. And you see Winchester getting involved in this game, as well as August in the 2 small point guards in the lineup right now. But they have been able to provide that pressure that Stephen F. Austin needed, as we see again. Just like that, Winchester in the passing lane. This young man hasn't played much at all this year, and you have to be excited for him getting his opportunity and making the best of it.
Somebody get him a name on the back of that jersey. He might need it.
Even if it's just a CW. He might not even need the whole last name. Get his initials on it or something. He has earned just at least the initials during this game alone.
Just a roll of tape and a Sharpie, even at this point, would work. The pressure has certainly been heightened here by Stephen F. Austin. 2 seconds to shoot. Edwards doesn't know about it, and the shot does not get off in time.
The officials are actually going to go check the monitor to make sure, being that the shot went in, they'll send the players to the bench, and they can go check the monitor to see. But I believe you were correct, and he did not get that out of his hands in time. Being that it was from the corner, we will get a great angle from our excellent crew of cameramen here checking this game out. And you see, you look at the shot clock, and it's already at 1. The red light already off well before the shot leaves Campbell's hands. And they've just called it no basket. That red light around the scoreboard already, by the time Campbell released that basketball, already the red light showing, which means no basket. And Stephen F. Austin has now taken its first lead of the game, and they have regained the momentum of this second half and not relinquished it at all.
It was Ryan Wells, the official, who was standing in front of the official scorer's table, who immediately waved that off, but they did do the double check. Here's Gilmore down the lane, a lot of contact, and that could be number 5 on Raheem Watts. And it will be.
And Watts showing his frustration as he knows he's done for the afternoon. And again, Watts was the help defender. It wasn't as though he earned that foul by that being his man. He was the help defender trying to stop a dunk as Gilmore went to the rim with mean intentions.
Gilmore leaving the free throw short. But as much credit as you can give Kyle Keller and Stephen F. Austin for being able to turn this game around, for Southern Miss, this is a team that has struggled now for the last 2 seasons, entering this game 3-7, and you start to wonder about their psyche in terms of being able to sustain a lead, finish games. Here's Abdur Rahim. What a move, weaving past the defender.
Nice play by Abdur Rahim right there, and not settling. And instead tried to continue to take the basketball to the rim, and was able to avoid the defender trying to pick up a charge in doing so.
Abdur Rahim, one of 13 children in that family.
Why you think he wears number 13? He's repping for the family.
Good call. Holyfield reversing field and getting the layup to go. It's now a 3-point advantage for the Lumberjacks, and a reach-in foul on Chase Winchester.
I do believe Reef wore 13 at some point during his NBA career. Now you have jogged my inner trivia.
Is it Google time?
I'll wait until we get off air. Probably not that professional to be on my phone right now.
Nine minutes to go. Southern Miss now playing from behind. Again, it was a 15-point advantage at one point in the first half for the Golden Eagles. Just minutes ago, Stephen F. Austin completing the comeback. They're now in front, and they will try to ward off the Southern Miss comeback effort. Edwards to the free throw line. Described by Doc Sadler as being kind of a quiet guy. He isn't necessarily one of those raw type of players, but his effort on the floor does the talking.
But as a point guard, it's hard to be quiet. So I'm sure that's one of the things that Doc Sadler has tried to bring out of Edwards. But we've seen the difference maker that he is at the point guard position for Southern Miss. The time that he's been on the court, they have been very successful throughout this tournament.
Gilmore dared to shoot, so he does. Can't hit.
Oftentimes it's for a reason.
Abdur Rahim ahead of the pack. In the lane, wanted the foul, no call. That was a block, cleanly done.
I'm sure that Abdur Rahim would disagree with you.
We got a whistle underneath the basket. It's going to go against Cortez Edwards, his second. And that's going to result in 2 free throws for Chase Winchester, and he has become a story. Yes, 3 points, 1 rebound in 15 minutes. Doesn't necessarily represent much, but it's some of the statistics that don't necessarily appear in the box score that you would give Chase Winchester credit on.
But you also have to recognize that those were 3 of the first 4 points of the game for Stephen F. Austin. He also made the first field goal of the game, and then when they went such a stretch, where no one can make a shot, he was able to come in and do it. But his biggest impact has been on the defensive end of the floor, where he's put so much pressure on Cortez Edwards and not allowed him to be able to just walk the ball up the floor. And he probably has a lot to do with many of the turnovers that Southern Miss has had here, especially in the second half.
With that free throw, he now has 4 points for the game. That matches his season total coming in. Total.
Get that man a W. At least a W on the back of his shirt.
He'll take the W in this game.
Exactly.
8:06 left to play here. And Southern Miss now, the team struggling to try to find a source of offense. Edwards, pressured. 6 seconds to shoot. Here's Abdul-Rahim. To a cutting Davis, up and in. Another dime dropped by Bilal Abdul-Rahim.
Abdul-Rahim has done a tremendous job, finding his teammates. And, of course, as he attacks the basket, it's not always for himself. More often than not, it's to find one of his teammates for the assist.
Ivan Canet now with it back on the floor. He's been quiet after a mid-game eruption. But he does draw the foul there. 7:31 left to play in this consolation matchup. It's turned into a competitive one. 52 all. Bilal Abdul-Rahim doing what he can to help the cause.
Well, Sharif Abdul-Rahim was a bucket getter, but Bilal is a dime dropper as he continues to find his teammates, and his team now leads by 1.
2 of the Hawaiian Airlines Diamond Head Classic. It's semifinal day. San Diego State already topped Tulsa to get to the championship. And part of the reason why, the efforts of Zylan Cheatham. In the opening game against Southern Miss, he went for 16 and 13 against Tulsa earlier today, 15 and 4. Corey.
Well, he's been a man the entire time he's been here in Honolulu. Plays with great energy, great effort on both ends of the basketball floor. A rebounding machine, but it can also push it to the rim. And more importantly, he has the best celebration so far in the event.
He's like a Red Bull can with legs. Just a source of energy for sure for that Aztecs team.
That he is.
Ivan Canet gets the friendly roll on the free throw. So Stephen F. Austin up 53-52. Now up a deuce with 7.5 to play. The drive by Campbell. And they're going to say he stepped on the end line. So it goes the other way. We saw some fairly crisp execution, at least at times in the first half, from Southern Miss. Has not quite been the case offensively here in the second half.
Well, Stephen F. Austin's picked up their defensive pressure, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that they were able to make some shots and then set up their full court pressure. They went such a long stretch without making a field goal. Early in the game, they couldn't get their pressure established because everything that Southern Miss was doing was out of transition.
Extra pass. It's Winchester for 3. Got it! He now has 7. I reiterate, he had 4 points total on the year coming into this game. But he has been left out there by Kyle Keller and almost comes away with a steal there. Edwards for 3. That one rattles in and out, and we got a foul on the rebound. It's going to go against the Lumberjacks.
Well, basketball is a game of inches, and sometimes it goes your way, other times it does not. But as you see, Quentin Campbell going baseline and called for out of bounds, never steps out of bounds, and is also finishes that layup. And so when he doesn't get those points and you turn to the other end of the floor, Winchester knocks down the 3. So that's a 5-point swing in the favor of Stephen F. Austin, which happens to be the current lead right now.
What a turnaround we have experienced here in this game. It's going to be a foul against Josh Huntley right out in front, trying to set the screen on Michael Ramey. Quentin Campbell, it's pretty clear, did not step out of bounds.
Did not step out of bounds and did make the layup. So instead of the score being 54-54 after that possession, it's 57-52 as Winchester knocks down the three-pointer off of that turnover. Or supposed turnover, as I have my air quote hands up.
Abdul-Rahim, another nifty behind-the-back dribble to get loose.
He is pretty good with the ball in his hands. Abdul-Rahim with the snazzy dribble and then the finish in the paint. He's had a productive afternoon.
He played at Wheeler High School in Georgia, same program that yielded Jaylen Brown, who, of course, went on to star at Cal.
Raheem, and this is actually one of the old pickup moves. Somebody reaching, dropping between the legs from behind the back, and then finish at the rim. Big impact for him as well. And I'm not even sure he played yesterday. I don't even remember calling his name. Maybe he got a couple minutes. But I don't remember seeing much of him yesterday's game. But he's had a tremendous impact in this game.
He did not play in yesterday's game, and in fact was the only player who didn't play in their loss to Mississippi State, the game prior to coming out to the Islands. So yeah, a couple of straight DNPs, and here he is now showing why he was a pretty highly touted guy. Here's Ramey. Got hit by Canet, and so Ramey, certainly that one in the act, will shoot 3. Second foul on Canet.
And if Ramey's able to knock down all 3 of these free throws, now we've got a tied basketball game again. And you have to think about, the fact that Southern Miss has showed a lot of poise. They didn't argue over the fact that they were called out of bounds when they weren't actually out of bounds. Gave up the 3, but they've showed a lot of poise here recently just to maintain the, because Stephen F. Austin has definitely had the momentum on their side. But Southern Miss has not crumbled and find themselves one free throw away from being back in a tied basketball game.
Michael Ramey knocking down the first 2. Josh Conley checks back into the game for Southern Miss, as does Kevon Harris for Stephen F. Austin. Ramey at the line. Began his career at Ball State. Underwent a medical hardship his freshman year after a season-ending illness. He then transferred to Miami-Dade College, then Seminole State College, before matriculating to Southern Miss. He ties this game up with 5.5 to go. Harris gets his own tip.
And we've seen that from Harris a number of times here already in these 2 games. A very quick second jump, showing off his athleticism right around the rim.
Described by Kyle Keller as an SEC caliber athlete. There was an example right there. Campbell walked with it.
The Lumberjacks continue to put in work on the offensive glass. Kevon Harris showing that second quick jump and touch to be able to put that back in for 2.
And Quentin Campbell, as well as Doc Sadler, frustrated. A couple of calls down along that baseline that went against Quentin Campbell. The phantom out-of-bounds step, and that time some contact. But they said he walked with it. Down low, it's Holyfield. Good muscle move. He has had his big moments for Stephen F. Austin. 15 points in that NCAA tournament game last year against Notre Dame.
They're doing a great job trapping that pick and roll, which was allowing Edwards to get into the paint earlier. And Campbell coming back, knocking down a big shot. We talked about his leadership earlier, but none bigger than that. He's had 2 calls go against him where he has a legitimate gripe as them being bad calls, but he doesn't complain, doesn't get deterred, just comes back and knocks down a huge 3-pointer on the other end of the floor.
He's now the top scorer for the Golden Eagles. He's got 11, 3 of 10 shooting. But yeah, you got to like the guts he displayed there. Holyfield picks up the dribble. 5 to shoot. Cameron for 3. Rebound batted around. Gilmore comes down with it. And Stephen F. Austin resets. Under 4 minutes to play. Bounce pass to Holyfield. Deep paint position. Too hard off the glass. And a chance for Southern Miss to reclaim the lead. Edwards all the way to the hole. And he gets fouled by Gilmore. Third foul on Gilmore, but Southern Miss will have free throws on the other side.
Well, the offense is picked up for both of these teams. TJ Holyfield carving out his niche in the paint, able to finish over the top for Stephen F. Austin. But on the other end is Quentin Campbell knocking down the 3.
Honolulu, Hawaii. Look at some of the decorations on Waikiki Beach here during the holiday season. It's semifinal day in the Hawaiian Airlines Diamond Head Classic. San Diego State already in the final. They await the winner of San Francisco, Illinois State doing battle at 10 Eastern on ESPN2. The Dons are in the house. USF coming off of a lights-out shooting performance in bouncing Utah from championship contention yesterday. San Francisco hitting a tournament record-tying 16 threes in that game.
It's just a normal game for you, right? You were starring at Iolani School.
Down the road.
Right down the road. 16 threes. You did that every night, right?
You just get me open. Don't rely on me to get me open. Not like Corey Alexander. You just give him the ball and let him score.
We all have different gifts, my friend.
Edwards will try to tie it here. Misses the second free throw. And so Stephen F. Austin still up by a digit.
Chase Winchester, we talked about Abdur Rahim not playing over the last couple of games. Chase Winchester hasn't played much at all this season, but he's had a tremendous impact and has earned crunch time minutes with his coach, Kyle Keller.
Abdur Rahim picking up the foul as Kevon Harris was trying to put that one back. So he'll go to the free throw line. Third foul on Abdur Rahim. But yeah, Chase Winchester, if nothing else is accomplished here in this game for Stephen F. Austin, it is that Chase Winchester can now be looked upon as a viable rotation option.
And especially with them needing help at the point guard position, I believe he has definitely come out and given them a positive boost in that. And more importantly, he gets it done on the defensive end of the floor, adding that pressure that Stephen F. Austin always likes to play with.
1 of 2 from the line goes Harris. Southern Miss can tie it. They can take the lead with a 3. Abdur Rahim trying to turn the corner against Gilmore. Got it pinned against the glass by Holyfield. Ivan Canet back on the floor for Stephen F. Austin. He's got a game-high 16. Winchester open for 3. Off the heel. Last touched out of bounds. It was Abdur Rahim and Edwards fighting for the ball.
I'll tell you another thing about Chase Winchester. He's not shy. If he sees it, he's going to let it go. He's hit a big 3 already. Missed on his last couple attempts. But he's not going to back away from taking the big shot in this moment.
Appeared in just 3 games prior to today. Averaged 4.7 minutes per contest, those 3 outings. Winchester now at the 20-plus minute mark, and he's still out there in, as you referred to, crunch time. Abdur Rahim picking up the foul again. That's number 4 on him. And that's going to send TJ Holyfield to the line. He is an 83% free throw shooter. Out. It is remarkable that we have even sort of gotten to this point, that it is, first off, a Stephen F. Austin lead, but a 2-point game nonetheless with what was transpiring in the first half. Southern Miss building a 15-point advantage. It was 12-1 about 7.5 minutes into the ball game.
And it was clearly no question as to which team was more engaged at the beginning of the game. It was Southern Miss. It wasn't only even about the scoring. They were locked in defensively. They were executing much better. And just like that, they returned to the lead off of a Michael Ramey 3.
So now we got a seesaw battle. Go figure. Canet kicks to Winchester. Down the lane, draws the foul. And Winchester will go to the free throw line in a clutch situation. But Michael Ramey at the other end, Corey, put Southern Miss back on top.
Well, and great execution by Southern Miss, getting Ramey open. But that's only half the battle. You got to step up and make the shot. And Michael Ramey, finding his spot, knocks it down to regain the lead for the Golden Eagles.
So Abdur Rahim picking up his 5th foul that last sequence. He sits Winchester at the free throw line, knocks down the first. Second free throw is good. How about the poise of this freshman out of DeSoto High School in Texas?
Well, Winchester actually going to get a break now. The senior, Dallas Cameron, back into the lineup. And this is one of those scenarios where you tell Cameron, you better be good, because Winchester has been great in this game. Kyle Keller trusting his senior to finish this one up down the stretch.
You like the move?
I do like the move. I like getting Cameron back in there, but I'm sure we may see Winchester over this last 2 minutes. I think he's earned that right and earned a bit of trust and some equity with his coach here today.
Here's Campbell. Davis dribbles it off his foot and out of bounds. It just got too crowded along that sideline. And Stephen F. Austin takes over.
Well, the style of play defensively hasn't changed. Although the personnel has changed for Stephen F. Austin, the style of play hasn't changed. They want to be in the passing lane. They want to turn you over, and they're successful on that last defensive possession.
Yeah, as Kyle Keller puts it, they want to be in your face. Under a minute and a half to play. Harris tried to challenge Conley. Left corner, it's Connett. Huge collision along the baseline. Hitting the deck was Davis. He picks up the blocking foul. Both teams above the 10-foul limit, and so it's 2 shots coming here for Ivan Connett.
You see on the other end of the floor, it's Connett going to the rim, and just like that, Davis is moving. You see that right leg come out just a bit to pick up the foul. Now, you asked me if I like that move of taking Winchester out. Right now, if I'm Coach Keller, Connett at the free throw line, the second free throw, before he shoots it, I'm sending Winchester to the table and to get him in. So if Connett makes his free throw, you get Winchester back into the game for defensive purposes. And look at that, just like that. I might be right on point.
What else is new, right?
But you want to do that to be able to put the pressure on Edwards defensively and also save Connett, because he's going to go back in as soon as Stephen F. Austin gets the ball back on the offensive possession. He's going back in the game.
Yeah, you want Connett's free throw shooting out there, an 84% shooter from the line. Near steal by Winchester. Edwards weaving through defenders, and a blocking foul is called.
And now it's time for Connett to come back into the game, because you got to handle the ball offensively.
That's the 4th foul called against Leon Gilmore.
But, like I said, and of course, Edwards gets to the free throw line, but that was almost another turnover for Southern Miss. Winchester did his job because he actually sped up Southern Miss and put Edwards in the opportunity to where he almost picked up a charge on that play.
Edwards, 10 points here in this contest to go along with 3 assists and 5 rebounds. Misses the free throw. He is now 4 of 8 from the line. Second free throw is good. So 11 points for Edwards, 2-point difference on the scoreboard. Dallas Cameron, the lone senior, gets it over to Connett on the wing. Connett, hard drive baseline, pump fake, got stuffed under the rim. Here's Ramey for 3 and the lead. Rattles in and out. Got a 16-second differential between the shot clock and game clock. Here's Cameron. Rises up, blocked at the apex by Edwards. What a play defensively. Shot clock is off. 20 seconds to play. Extra pass, left corner, Campbell for 3. Rebound by Kevon Harris, and he's fouled.
Good look for Campbell on the other end of the floor, and I was wondering whether Doc Sadler would actually call a timeout, but it was a great job by him not calling a timeout, allowing his team to play, and they get a great look at the three-pointer on the other end, just unable to finish it from Campbell in the corner, but still very important to be able to finish both these free throws if you're Kevon Harris, because, again, only one make keeps this as a one-possession game.
He hits the free throw. Harris now 2 of 3 from the charity stripe. This one becomes oh so important. Just to be sure, Southern Miss without a timeout. Stephen F. Austin still has one. Second free throw is no good. Golden Eagles still alive.
Get the ball to Edwards.
Edwards working against Canet. The pull-up three. Left it short. Canet tracks down the board, and this ball game is over. Stephen F. Austin rallies from a 15-point deficit in the first half to win on day 2 of the Hawaiian Airlines Diamond Head Classic, 67-64.
And you have to give the Lumberjacks a lot of credit. They didn't fold when things weren't going their way early. They fought back and came away with a strong quality win.
That makes Ruby Davis extremely happy, that's for sure. Semifinal between San Francisco and Illinois State still to come. But for now, it's Stephen F. Austin knowing they secured a victory in the Islands. For Corey Alexander, I'm Kanoa Leahy. Aloha for now.